shenanigans coming out. This map, like you said, we'll take a look at this map in a little bit, but there's some pretty cool little things you can do. Even with Reapers, honestly, I know we talked about Reapers before and how it's kind of hard to make work, especially versus a player as good as Neeb, but on this map, I actually think a Reaper opening is not that bad.
Yeah, I'm glad you and I are on the same boat, man. But we can talk about that in a little bit, because first we need to introduce our players. So in the top left, here in the purple colours, he manages to swing things back and equalise the scoreline. It is going to be none other than MaSa.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the yellow Protoss player. Give it up for Ting's Neeb.
I want to say sick game there from MaSa on Overgrowth. Really, really well played. There were so many moments in that game where I was like, oh, he's dead. Neeb's going to counterattack and just kill him. But he managed to hang in there, man. So really impressive performance from this guy.
Okay, well, we don't see any proxies just yet out of MaSa, but he is sending out that initial SCV that's coming out not just after the barracks is finished up. It's being sent out a little bit early on, which does make me think we're going to be seeing some kind of proxy factory shenanigans, Tenchi.
I'm feeling it here, Ravi. Yeah, maybe he's going to go CC, yeah, it looks like a one-rack CC, actually, so a little bit of a throwback in terms of builds. This isn't actually something you see too often. It'll usually just be a Reaper expand, or you'll see like a CC first on the odd occasion, but one Rax Expo? This is Heart of the Swarm all over again.
Oh yeah, you know what? Now that you mention it, there is no gas down for MaSa, so this definitely isn't going to be any kind of proxy or factory. In fact, yeah, this is super duper old school, like you were saying. I like that MaSa's also kind of being annoying, kind of blocking that gas geyser at the second gas for a while, but.
That's really cool that he does that, because like you pointed out there before we started this game, is as you guys check the natural, only one gas here for Neeb, and especially so for Protoss in the early stages of the game, lack of gas is really gonna hurt Neeb. So the fact that this gas geyser was denied hurts even more now, simply because he's only gonna have another third gas geyser to mine off of in a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll see how Neeb decides to play this out. Is he just going to go for that same style? Does he feel like he doesn't necessarily need as much gas? If he's going to be making a lot of adepts?
Maybe.
Can he still afford all the Phoenix with that? Looks like MaSa's solution to this map is, well, let me just grab a really quick third. And look at the location of this third. That's kind of an abnormal location. I think that's really trying to be a hidden third. That's really exceptionally trying to be a hidden third.
Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. This should not get scattered by Neeb. And to be honest, we were expecting some sort of proxy cheese, but I guess in a sense you could call this quote-unquote economical cheese, where he's taking a big risk to bring himself a little bit further ahead in the later stages of the game, whereas we come into the mid-game, which, if Neeb doesn't identify that this is going on and punish him heavily for it, then, we'll see MaSa's economy just explode, as he's now plopping down his additional barracks and taking the double gas. So he is going to start powering up very shortly here, Fear Dragon. But so far, I'm actually really liking this little adjustment here from MaSa.
Okay, we'll see how this works out, as the Oracle is going to be popping relatively shortly. We have more and more adepts being made over here for Neeb. And also adding on a few more gateways. Let's see, how many gateways is he up to now? Still just 3, so nothing too crazy just yet. This gets weird though, right, Tenchi? Where a Terran player's factory is going to be so late. Yeah, you're going to have stim still at a pretty reasonable time with the 3 racks opening, but can you afford to stim all that much? I mean, we saw how dangerous of a game it can become in that last game when you don't exactly have that many medevacs. And if you're getting started late on the medevac production, this can get even weirder.
Yeah, then you're genuinely in big trouble. Now the Oracle comes in here for Neeb, and he is going to be able to find himself perhaps an SCV or 2. But there's already a turret here. MaSa's actually really well prepared to deflect this. Now, Neeb gets at the scout and he sees that there's already a third command center. He is getting a third base of his own. But, yeah, no, to come back to what you were talking about there, Fear Dragon. It's definitely, again, sort of similar to like we had there in the first game, a bit of an odd situation, very unorthodox sort of scenario playing out right now between these two players. And
Mhm.
I want to point out, by the way, that Neeb really, really delayed his gas in the natural expansion. So this is, I think what he's just going to be doing. He looks as if he just wants to take this into a little bit more of a standard game where he, as you can see, he's getting his Twilight Council and his Forge now.
Mhm.
But just everything sort of at a little bit of an off timing, if you will.
Yeah, and I suppose once he does establish the third expansion, he grabs both the gas guys over there. As the game goes on, the one gas income for that natural, it still matters, but it matters less and less, just because it's about percentages, right? If you have 4 gas geysers, then not having one of them, or sorry, if you have 2 bases, you normally have 4 gas geysers, but you have 3, that's 25% less gas.
Yeah.
If you have
that's a good
3
point.
bases, you would have 6 gas geysers. That's 5/6. Tenchi, I'm not going to try and do that.
No, oh,
I
God, no.
took it to my limit.
Well, your limit is way higher than mine, I'll tell you that much. So, I actually was terrible at maths in school, man. I was so bad.
Isn't that why we just commentate StarCraft now?
That's true. Oh, I had this conversation not too long ago with a friend of mine. Like,
Oh.
why are you talking about video games, Tenchi? Is it because you, why didn't you, like, what did you do in uni? It's like, actually, I haven't gone to uni yet, man.
Oh man.
I'm too passionate about video games, dude. It's too good. Especially so, I think we're out in the perfect season, man, because we have guys like Neeb playing StarCraft 2 right now, which is so sick.
It's the dream. It is the dream time to be playing, but I don't think Neeb was too happy about how the math worked out on that last little poke in, as he did end up losing his Oracle, and the Oracle's a pretty big deal in this matchup, especially when you've been playing like Neeb. You don't necessarily have as many observers as you oftentimes would in the past. So you're relying a little bit on those observers to provide detection for not just Widow Mines, since we don't really see too many of those really coming out from MaSa until just now, but even just keeping an eye on your opponent's army, having the Revelation down is really, really valuable.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm really glad you actually bring that up, because when Protoss decide to tie up the production timer from the Robo into observers, that's really going to hurt them, you know, when it comes to that firepower backbone. So it's always a decision that you have to be making, you know, do I want to be making Colossus or Immortals, or do I need the vision with the observers? So that's actually a really interesting point. I think that that's a lot of things that sort of, that's one of the things that's definitely slip under the radar for a lot of people and a lot of players, I feel.
Absolutely.
But he's got a Warp Prism now, and he's going to be warping it for Adepts. So he's getting ready to harass things a little bit here.
Okay, he's got a pretty good-looking army, though. He's got an Immortal in the mix. He's got some Sentries that can both Force Shield and Guardian Shield if need be. He's even sending out some Adepts, and I think these are scouting Adepts. He knew that his Adept over at the Wash... Oh my god, he actually lets the Shade finish. He's going to kill off a few of these Marines, but he's going to end up losing 2 or 3 Adepts in the process.
At the same time, this drop does come on in, and is going to force all of the SCVs off of the mining. MaSa needs to get some units up there right now. And at the same time, he is posturing out on the map, and I do believe that Neeb is actually aware of this. However, Phoenixes might be able to catch these 2 medevacs. MaSa is going to have to dive in towards the main base.
This is just not going well for MaSa at all, as the 2 medevacs you mentioned get caught. The Adepts are still doing damage on the other side of the map as well, and just madness is ensuing everywhere, but none of these madness engagements are actually working out well for MaSa. Maybe he'll get a good trade over the front, though, in the third? No, gets pushed back as well.
Yeah, those force fields, man. So good here. And the audacity of Neeb, he's going to go into 4th base, which is going to be the gold, and he was actually still dropping in the 3rd base there of MaSa, killing so many workers. 41 SCVs have gone down in this game. Are you real?
Tenchi, MaSa takes a lot of damage from the Adept harassment because Neeb is on top of it. He tries to drop into the main base, but Neeb is on top of it. He tries to move into the 3rd expansion, but Neeb is still on top of it.
This guy...
this guy is unbelievable. It's not just the defense that we were like praising him for. It's also the offense. He's able to do it all at the same time.
Oh my god, look at this here, Fear Dragon. Neeb has the foresight to put down this pylon, spotting for any, you know, attempted pushes down here from MaSa. He's going to catch this as well.
Wow.
This is so sick, and he's putting a pylon on the far right as well. Oh, Neeb, what kind of god are you?
Okay, well, MaSa is actually getting into a really clever position behind the mineral lines, and he could actually do some pretty abusive stuff down here on the low ground, leave a couple of Marines, but like you were saying, that pylon does catch wind of things, is going to allow him to reposition his army a little bit, but it's still an awkward position. It forces Neeb to stay a bit extra defensive, and really is relying on the Warp Prism now to get some sort of damage done. And I think he might actually... No, the Warp Prism is still alive. It's very low on health, but it's still alive.
It's always so frustrating for Terran, you know, when you know that there's an active Warp Prism on the map. You can never be too sure, you know, when you move out. But so I want to point one thing out here, though, Fear Dragon. If you look at the resources lost, MaSa hasn't actually lost too much in comparison to Neeb. And if you consider the fact that he's lost 41 SCVs in this game, he's actually got a very healthy SCV count. So he's put a ton of money into this. Now, imagine if he didn't have to replenish all of those workers and he would have put that into another expansion, more production, how different this game would be. But now, you know, MaSa, he's up against the max Neeb with superior upgrades and superior attack, and he's still not done. Neeb is getting the Fleet Beacon, he's getting the Dark Shrine and 3-3. This is looking so scary for the Terran.
Well, Neeb is shading in on top of a lot of bio. Kind of surprising. I think he didn't realize that there are still a lot of bio forces inside of the medevac, so they just unload on top of the adepts. But still, MaSa needs to make something happen with this drop in the double drop in the bottom left, because he's got this roaming around. He's looking for an opportunity, and he is keeping Neeb on the defensive because of it. I really like the abuse that he's actually finding with this kind of position behind the mineral lines, but he just hasn't been able to make the damage happen just yet.
One of the things that actually has me slightly concerned when it comes to this drop, as you pointed out there, Fear Dragon, is the fact that Neeb, I mean, he's going to nearly be maxed at this point. So he can't actually warp in defensively, as is so important for Protoss. That's like the panic button for Protoss, right? The panic warp-ins. But if you're maxed out, you know, you can't do that anymore. So he needs to be a little bit careful and pace himself with this. But again, he's actually going to catch out a lot of the army right now here, moving out. So yeah, Neeb should just commit with these shades, and then he could go and interrupt mining in the gold base. But here we are. MaSa's going to go in towards the natural. Oh my god.
These DTs are just ripping this army to pieces, as MaSa didn't even realize they were there. There's the drop inside the natural expansion, like you were saying. Dark Shrine gets picked up. The Bioforces can do a good bit of damage, but you were saying before that Neeb was fully maxed out, but he's not maxed out anymore. So there are some weapons available soon. It's just not soon enough.
The Protoss army right now looking so scary. Liberators will set up, but the DTs again. MaSa not scanning. He's getting absolutely torn to bits, and these Tempests show up as well. The drop gets cleaned up, and Neeb looks poised to take this game. This is again.
This is a nearly unrecoverable situation, as MaSa's about to lose his remaining Liberators. The command center is starting to burn down. SCV's desperately trying to repair the only possible remaining hope that MaSa has in this game, but all the units that are left over are a little bit too strong. GG gets called. Neeb takes game number 3.
Yeah, but again, what a game, Fear Dragon. Coming